Welcome to Kitchen Table Talk with Jacqui Dobens. I'm Jacqui Dobens, and we're here at the lovely Broken Hill Cafe here in Temecula at Inez in Winchester. It is a burgundy awning across the parking lot from See's Candy. And we're thrilled and excited to have today Cheryl Zenski. She is a 30-year mortgage veteran. And what that means for you is that she'll be able to navigate you safely through your transaction. Welcome, Cheryl.
Hi, Jacqui. Thanks for having me.
What is the most exciting thing that you have the feeling that every time you close a loan after 30 years, what is that feeling? Let us know what that feels like for you.
Well, it's about the excitement of the borrower. They are so excited to get their keys in their hand, to move into their house. A lot of times it's their very first home they've ever had. And that precious, precious moment that they have when they realize it's done. They've given us all the paperwork, they've closed, they've sent their money in, and it's recorded and it's done. It is a feeling of elation and satisfaction and a little bit of relief that everything is done.
Right?
Right.
I can relate to that. So you have been in the industry in various facets for 30 years. Could you just kind of rattle a couple of those off for us?
Yes, absolutely. So I started in 1984, and I went to work for somebody from the banking industry.
Okay.
I was a teller and didn't make a whole lot of money. It was also 1984,
Okay.
so it's all relative.
Yeah.
But I had done some loans. So what happened was he asked me if I wanted to process mortgage loans.
Wow.
And so that's what happened. And it was hard and but wonderful at the same time, because what he did is he sat me down, he said, here's 4 loans, here's the manual, I need them to close in 30 days.
Wow.
I had no idea what I was doing. Thankfully I had support. My brother is a CPA.
Nice.
I was able to call him and say, oh my gosh, remind me how to do a ratio again.
Wow.
And I read the manual. I got things done. He told me what lenders to go to and things
Okay.
like that. But I did that and got them closed. That to me was my key of understanding, because I had to figure it out myself.
Right.
So to finish, I've
Well, yes,
processed.
please.
I have been a manager, I've been an assistant manager, I've underwritten the loans, the underwriting is the decision maker.
Wow.
So I know how to put those loans together. I've also been in sales, so I've done operations and sales, and I'm in sales again right now.
So you've gone full circle.
Yes.
What would you say is the importance of having that varied background? I just call it foundation.
Yes.
For you to know what someone is going to look for, because you've literally been in their shoes.
Right.
If you could convey that to someone that's looking to buy their first home or looking to get a streamline or a lower interest rate, share with us what's the importance of that?
Well, the importance of me having all of those jobs, you're getting somebody in one person who knows the whole facet of lending, and understands what it is that the decision maker is going to be looking at.
Yeah.
So I'm gathering information, I'm analyzing, I'm looking at it. I'm saying, oh, well, this is a question I know the underwriter is going to ask for, so let's address it right now instead of waiting.
Right.
So what that does is it speeds up the process. So instead of me getting it in and kind of throwing it together and handing it over to an underwriter, I'm doing all of it up front. I'm asking those questions, I'm getting the information, I'm giving it to the underwriter who makes a decision and says, I just need this, and the appraisal, and we're done.
Nice.
Yes.
I would strongly, as a side note, encourage any realtors out there that are looking for someone that is been there, done that, and got the t-shirt on these transactions. I don't even want to put you on the spot and ask you how many transactions that there have been. For them to feel comfortable getting in touch with Cheryl. Cheryl, what is your best contact information?
My best contact information is my cell phone number. It's 951-704-8804. I'm available all the time. You can text me, you can email me, or you can phone me.
I am amazed that you've been doing this and have this much to offer, and so few of us actually knew you existed. And one of the reasons that we have Kitchen Table Talk is to almost mine out people like yourself that have a unique story. What is a a story that comes to mind of where it looked kind of wobbly, because that's real, right? That's real talk. Where it looked a little wobbly, but you guys got through it. Share like an example of a story of that.
Gosh, there are so many. I do a lot of loans for first-time home buyers, and there are times when a first-time home buyer will come to me and they know they want to buy a house. They just really don't know what is the next step. Well, really the next step is talk to me. Let me complete an application, because that's the story. I'm telling a story when I'm doing this. And sometimes there are things along the way, there's bumps along the way, and they're at a crossroads. And the crossroads could be, maybe I need to clean up some credit. I'm going to give them guidance and show them how to do that. Or maybe I'm ready. Hey, did you realize that you don't need 20% down? Wow. You don't even need 10% down. Wow. You don't even need, a lot of times, 5% down. And I can help them with that. I can help them with closing costs and getting assistance for that. So there's just a lot of things that if they just talk to me, they might discover that they are mortgage ready right now.
That's nice. And you have an affinity towards the military.
Yes.
And I'd love for you to talk a little bit about that and how you are availing yourself with your 30 years of experience to the military. So talk a little bit about your connection with the military.
Okay, well, my connection is that I grew up in the military. My father was in the military, and we moved from place to place, wow, state to state for most of my young life. We settled at, my dad finished and retired in Oceanside, California, so I was able to finish going to school there. So from 7th to 12th grade, I was able to go to school there, which was really nice.
Yeah, especially those years.
And being shy, very, very shy, because it was hard to make friends when you knew that 8 months down the road,
yes,
they weren't going to be around anymore. And cell phones and Facebook were not around.
Right? Yeah, those
back
are
then.
New animals.
Exactly. So my father in the military, and then I married a Marine. So nice. My husband is retired Marine. He was medically retired, so my husband is a disabled vet.
Wow.
And we do a lot. We do a lot to help the vets, and it's a big deal to us. It's a big deal to us to give back to our community and to understand where they're coming from, and so helping them with their benefit that they get through VA, yes, which is to have zero down. Have most of the closing costs paid for by the seller.
Wow.
These are things that they may know, and some younger don't really realize what the benefit that the VA offers them, and I'm here to help them.
You mentioned to me about the benefits of being a direct lender. Can you share what that distinction is?
Yes, because I have been both.
That's what
I have actually owned my own brokerage shop where I was the facilitator, the loan officer, the facilitator, put everything together, which is what I do now, and then submitted it to a lender for approval. And that actually works okay. The direct lender thing, though, is awesome, because I have contact with the underwriter, the decision maker.
Wow.
I can contact the underwriter if I'm worried about something, if I think that the income may be a little bit wobbly or something like that, and I want someone to look at it before my buyer has taken the time to go out and start looking for a home,
right,
fall in love with a home, and then I tell them 3 weeks into the transaction, you're not going to get the home. I never want that to happen.
Yes.
It doesn't happen with me, because I make sure I get everything up front. If I have any concerns, I'm talking to a direct underwriter. The other thing that's important is that once we've made the decision, it's done. We get the few extra things that we need. We're ready to close. We issue the CD, which is a closing disclosure. 3 days later, the borrower is signing. The next day, we're closing.
Wow.
So it goes boom, 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 just like that. Unfortunately, in the broker world, it doesn't always go that smoothly.
I love that you have the distinction of the experience, as opposed to having something that is, say, well, they are competition, so you want to slam or bash someone, which is not your personality anyway. But I love that experientially you can say the difference.
Yes.
And say how that benefits your client. And again, I really want to press the importance of you realtors, whether you're seasoned or if you're new, that you reach out to Cheryl and help her help you get your home sold. Help her help your buyers and your sellers. And put your contact information out there again for us.
My cell phone number is 951-704-8804. You can also reach me, you can text me at that number. You can also reach me by email at czenski@envoymortgage.com. That's Zenski. Zenski is Zenski @envoymortgage.com.
We were chatting over coffee, and I just thought of that because she's been in the industry for 30 years, she could take you from A to Z. And I just think that just having that comfort of knowing that someone has navigated, I'm going to go out and just say thousands of homeowners to the loan of their desires is a huge feather in your cap. And what other power partners or who else would you ideally want to work with? Like maybe divorce attorneys or something. Who else would you want to work with to collaborate with for your business?
Well, realtors, of course,
Mm-hmm.
CPAs, financial planners,
Good.
and insurance people. Believe it or not, insurance people have a great opportunity here with renters, their current renters right now, for us to market to them, and I have a program for that. We can market to them so that the buyer, the potential buyer, the current renter, is getting information on becoming a homeowner, because they might be sitting there paying rent, and that rent is just going into the landlord's pocket.
Yeah.
It's not benefiting the borrower or the renter at all, other than to live in that house.
Sure.
It's not benefiting them for the future at all. So that's a way to market as well.
I like that. I'm thinking of a couple of insurance people I can connect you with. That's
Okay, that
awesome.
would
I'm
be
glad
great.
you mentioned that. Oh, definitely. I'll get some people on board with you because, again, I know people that have seen cycles in various industries, and I, again, cannot emphasize enough how important it is when you are trying to sell a property that someone has experience, not that just that they're your barbecue buddy, that they've had experience and that they'll be able to navigate you through because they've been through this several times. Again, Cheryl, please give your contact information. They can reach out to you.
Again, my cell phone number is 951-704-8804. Text me or call me. My email is czzenski@envoymortgage.com.
What do you wish people knew about this current climate in the mortgage industry right now?
Well, it's interesting. The market that does appear to be going up, which is great, and we're more of a level playing field now for both buyers and sellers. It kind of depends on, as you're looking for homes, as the buyer's looking for homes, one of the tidbits is that if the longer the house has been on the market, the more easy it might be to negotiate a deal for yourself. The shorter the period of time that it's been on the market, that means people are looking at it, or they haven't had enough offers to really decide whether they're willing to wheel and deal or not. So I see it more as a level playing field right now, where we just kind of came out of a complete seller's market. Before that, we were in a buyer's market. So right now, we're kind of level.
What's more important, payment or interest rate?
What's more important, the payment or the interest rate?
I mean, I hear people often, what I mean by that is I hear people often say, well, what's my rate?
Right.
Instead of what's my payment, which is my budget.
Right.
So that's why it's kind of like a rhetorical question.
Right.
But I just wanted to hear from someone with 30 years experience what they would share.
I would say the payment. The payment is the most important, because it is a payment that you can afford. Interest rates are across the board pretty much the same. There's some variation, of course, but for the most part, they're just about the same. You're wanting to look at your payment. What can you actually sit down at the table with? Open up your checkbook. I know that most of us don't do that anymore. We do it online.
Right.
But if it is something that you cannot write that check without having a dead feeling in your stomach, don't take that payment. It doesn't matter how great the interest rate is.
Wow.
You want to be comfortable with it. And I always counsel my borrowers to understand, this is what you qualify on paper. Is this what you're comfortable with with a payment? And then I'll kind of work backwards from there and say, well, this is what this payment looks like, this purchase price level. So then they start to get an idea of what they can get, and sometimes they want to go out there and see, well, at this amount, what does that house look like, or what does that condo look like? And sometimes it's acceptable. If it's not, then we go back and they kind of rethink their budget and things like that. But really, it's about the payment. And a payment's going to include your principal and interest, your taxes, your insurance, and if you're getting a condo or a PUD, which is a planned urban development that has HOA, it's going to include that as well. So you want to make sure that it's all encompassing and that's a comfortable payment for you.
Oh, that's brilliant. I mean, just the way you walk through that, I love it. I think that's probably, I've just never heard of anyone saying it just so clear. So just like, what is that saying? Like a hot knife through butter. You just kind of just set it and put it out there, and you can't pay for that type of experience. You're so much ahead of the crowd in that regard, and I just thank you so much for being here at Kitchen Table Talk with Jacqui Dobens.
Thank you so much for having me, Jackie.
You knocked it out the park, girl.
Thanks.
And we're done.